All right, Jeremy here again. Second video of the day, last one. Fridays we're normally closed, but we do some cleanup work, shipping, stuff, what have you. And promised this customer I'd get this tub listed for him, or at least sent to him. So doesn't necessarily mean it's sold, but I do tell people that we do have I hold them for them until I get a yay or nay out of them. So 1966. It's actually really clean. I was a little nervous because it had some diamond plate on it, and sometimes they hide things there. You'll have the holes where the diamond plate went, of course, up through these areas, but not too bad to fill those in. Or if you want to reinstall diamond plate, you could do that too. But again, I would say 90% of the time, if there's diamond plate on something, it's covering something bad, and really it wasn't covering much at all. So I'll show you front to top, top to bottom, side, left to right, yada, 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 so you can see it as if you're here in person like I do all my videos. Questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out. It's 303-666-9020, and that's partsbreakers.com, which it would be listed in a few weeks if it doesn't sell, so you might still check there. But if you don't see what you're looking for on there, I emphasize just calling us, give us a shout, send me an email, and whatever works for you. That 303 number I just gave you is a landline, so it won't work for texting, but I do have a cell. You can give us a call and I can give that to you. You can stay in touch that way too. Otherwise, without further ado, we'll start here, the left side, left rear driver's side corner, and I'll get it here lifted up in the air here a little bit too, but this is all nice solid. I don't see any filler. If there is, there's not much. It's got dirt here, which we normally wash, and this will be cleaned, but I just wanted to get it going, so I'll show you. Okay, looks like they filled in probably something there. This is just feels like sealant, like gasket material. See, it scrapes off there, so that's not Bondo there, but my guess is who knows, actually, with diamond plate over, maybe they were filling it in so it wouldn't, because there's it feels like there might be a little dings here. They didn't want stuff trapping and rusting out. Probably a good idea, I guess. So, and then here again, just a lot of dirt on this thing, but nothing there. Paint's flaking a little bit. I have a couple things mounted on this tub that we normally don't include, and if the customer wants them, we can work something out. This tailgate does have a couple dings, but it is the Willys one. These are super popular with the arts guys. The guys are recreating stuff or ornamental stuff, so usually hang on to those, get a couple $100 for them normally, but it does have a decent ding there, although that one would be pretty easy to pull out. So, and I might have a non-Willys one back there if you're interested in that. The back skirting is nice and clean, straight. Those usually get pretty banged up there. Again, this corner looks good. A couple little dimples, dings up through here. Okay. This is all pretty good. I think originally these had a tire carrier here, and that might be what that's there. So we'll get in there and see what we see behind it here in a minute. But this is the first time, I've seen the Jeep obviously, but this is the first time I've actually seen it like this, stripped down. So what I see is what you see, and that's kind of nice too. I like to do that. I'm not always get to do that way. Normally I kind of know what they are, but videos kind of help me go through it because I'm kind of curious as I go, and picking things and showing you stuff like that. The last thing I want you to do is get something you don't want. So this is all clean. This is good down here. It's a little bit bent in here, but this is real easy to pull. This happens quite a bit on a lot of them. Rocker's got a little ding on the bottom of this guy. Again, not a bad area to get to. You can get your hand back up in here. But that roll looks solid. Nothing there. Cowl looks nice. This does have the tray built in. Obviously, these are non-functional. You could pop it off and use it, I guess, but originally. So that's if you're looking for one that has that, that's actually kind of hard to find. So the guys that don't usually don't mind it, but the guys that do have it usually want it. So, yeah, and then you got your firewall. There's a couple little things they done on the firewall. There's a weird cut here, so probably want to patch that or at least clean it up a little bit. Not even sure what they had here. My guess is they did something with a heater, because these old ones, the heaters are a little inadequate in cold climate. So could have been that. This guy's still intact. This stuff we normally pull, it will come off. I don't, again, if you need that, I don't mind leaving it on. I have a few of those already. This is a little bit bent out here, but this is just sheet metal. This will just bend back. Sorry, I'm getting a call and I'm trying to look at who's calling. So, and then same thing here. This looks like it's been possibly patched at one time. I don't know if they cut this, and then I'm not exactly sure, but it definitely looks like you get kind of a square look up through here. Not the greatest, cleanest job, but not terrible. Somebody could definitely clean that up a little bit. Everything else looks pretty solid there. This is definitely manipulated. You can feel kind of rough edges here. They had a steering column that they mounted in this to convert this over to power steering. And they did it in a not a very intrusive way. And the reason I say that is because this is actually a separate piece, as you probably already know. We call it tunnel covers. And so if your tunnel cover is good, clean, and I might have one of these out there that's not cut, that will cover up a lot of that stuff that they kind of manipulated there to get that column down through. They even had a tilt column in it, so which is actually really difficult to do on these years. It didn't look terrible. Again, it wasn't show quality, but it was functional for sure. So that gives you there. And then this is the same thing with that. That kind of goes hand in hand with that cover up there. So if you have that, you're probably in the boat that wants it. And if you don't have it, you're probably in the boat that doesn't care if you have it. And these are essentially, this was, from what I understand, the military versions. It wasn't exactly a military Jeep, but it's what they improvised. And I guess the tubs, they had some leftover ones, and they ended up putting these on the civilian Jeeps as well. And from what I understand from a guy that knew a little bit more about some of the older stuff, I guess the radios, I think he said, went here. And then I think the battery boxes were up there, if I'm not mistaken. But all right, and then Jeep's all in there. So that's one thing on your repop tubs. If you're not familiar, if you bought one of those, this is usually not in them. You usually have to patch these in. So that might be something to consider on them. And yeah, everything else. This is the lower rocker here has got a couple, this is actually really nice, clean, straight till about here. And you got a little ding here, which is accessible right there. So that should be fairly easy to pound out. That looks all good there. Nice clean over there, and then back to the corner. So floorboards, okay. They got a light texture on them. They're solid, at least at this point right here. This actually looks excellent shape. Roll bars, they did have a roll bar. We sold it already. And I'll show you that because they like to rust out in those areas. That actually is pretty solid too. Actually, the last probably 5 or 6 we've had, those have been rusty in this area. Up on these top of these wheel wells where these go. And this is actually, maybe because they had a line on it, who knows, but this is pretty solid. I don't see anything here. Again, we'll lift it up and make sure there. Same thing over there. That looks pretty solid there. Okay, nothing seen, at least on the top side. And then you got your back trunk area. Okay, and in this area, this is definitely an area that likes to rust, so I'll be curious to see if this is, well, I would say all of them are rusty in this area. Yeah, so like, the top side's really good shape here. This is excellent. This might be the cleanest box I've ever seen. So normally these are blown out on any year that had these. So pretty impressive. That's that clean on that guy. Okay, and then passenger floorboard looks nice, solid. Okay, dash I'll leave in. Windshield frame, that'll be sold separately unless you need that. We can figure that out. I think he's got it to where will it fold down, Jerry? I think that clip over there. We don't need to fold all the way. Let's just show that lip on the bottom there. Yeah, super clean. So I'll will you just hold it there for a second? You got it. See if I can get that focus for you. So that's an area that loves to rust out on these two, that top cowl. And then that's got a gasket on it. We'll have to pull to see, but we can do that later. All right, let me get it in the air. Would you mind lifting this thing up for me? So wheel wells, that's a common area. Okay, they super clean. They love to rust out here. Really nice. I mean, it's got a little bit of that liner on it too. Somebody must have done that a while ago because everything's really clean, preserved under here. So the pinch welds, all that looks super nice. That's probably good. Thanks, sir. All right, so back here, this area, these are the corners we were talking about. Phone doesn't keep auto-focusing very much. Let me see if I can clean these lenses. Yeah, so this is just this liner stuff. Maybe where they had that mount. I think that tire did mount over here. So looks like they might have filled in where that went maybe, so that shouldn't be too hard to put back on it. And then, I hate the way this is showing right now. I apologize that this iPhone too, a nice one, and just is getting me a weird glare with the lighting. So, okay, this side here, same thing. They just kind of lined everything to protect it, and it did its job. It did a really good job. This could be considered a higher grade tub. I've already priced this customer, and we'll stay at that for what it is for now. But if they don't end up buying it, we'll probably adjust this up a little bit because of how clean this guy is. And the liner's peeling off pretty easily. So I mean, it's gonna take a little elbow grease, but if you wanna get this stuff off, you can see it just kind of flaking off. Definitely been on there a while. Okay, so you can see it there. A nice clean red paint. And I assume that's the original color because that's what's underneath the windshield frame. That's usually when you can see if they painted them. The blue obviously isn't. Okay, so we got mounts here, mounts here. This one's been up a little bit. You got this guy, okay, and then you got your other one, your cross all through here, nice and clean. This one's a little dinged right here. There's you can see a little bit on the outside, what you were seeing back there. It's actually straight. This probably has a little filler in it here to smooth this out. You could beat that out a little bit and get that filler out of it, I'm sure. And then the torque pockets, or these cross braces, whatever people call them. This is, again, I'm not just saying this, but I've done a lot of these CJs and YJs, and the CJs are the only ones have this type of bracing in them, and these are always blown out, even on clean topside tubs. So it's got a little bit right here, maybe a little surface, but let's see what we can find here. Yeah, I see a little bit of coming off there, but not bad. Nothing that needs to be replaced. I would treat it for sure. So, and there's your square piece here. This is that piece I showed you, just real thin metal. You can bend that back. So all through there, those look great on the driver's side. This is the center tunnel. That's all nice and clean like it should be. I don't know if those are factory holes. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they're not. It's kind of rough anyway, so those will probably be filled in from you. And then the passenger side, same thing. Okay, so that's original. That's super old. These look great though. Nothing there. And this is the same thing on that other one. Exact same place, same thing, kind of flaking off a little bit there. Started getting a little weak, but so they put wood in these, if you don't know that. And why they did that? Well, because back in the day, wood was basically what they had to work with, and that's what was strong. But you know, they weren't looking at what this vehicle was going to be in 60 years. But wood is obviously not a great idea because it's a water soak, so it just soaks up water, and that will eventually, especially in salt conditions. If this thing wasn't in Colorado its entire life, and it was on the East Coast, Midwest at all, this would have been completely gone. All this would be done in this thing. So I'm super pleased. So considering it's old, and we do give these slightly different grades on our older stuff, I would consider this at least an A, if not a high A. It does have some small cosmetic things on it, some small body work, but there's nothing major that I see. I actually see no rot in the thing whatsoever. There's your small things there. I'm seeing there's your bent lower rocker, and again, you can see that lip right there. Sorry, right there. So okay. So again, 66. So what years you're looking at on this guy? And that's what it's, so let me give you something real quick, okay? That's what this was titled as. And I say that because, you know, somebody has called, I would say every time I put a tub up, especially on an old one, somebody calls and says, nope, that's gotta be this year because of this. And so I emphasize that because, you know, there is on Jeep World, I think people do stuff like that all the time. So, but if you're indeed looking for a 60s tub, and I would say 55 to 69, or right smack in the 60s era, then this would be a great tub for you. If you, you know, especially if you're not wanting to deal with repops, which we won't even sell them anymore. I don't sit here and beat on them. We don't do it for a reason, and the reason is we had too many returns on them, and it's a total pain in the butt for a company our size to do a return on an item this big. So we just stopped doing them, and we haven't lost anything because of that. So there's definitely some bubble in here. I don't see too much over here, maybe a little bit showing up there. So you're gonna have probably a little bit of mitigation here, and that's actually not a bad area because it's got a brace there. So on this side, yeah, it's almost like they went in before. Oh, there we go. Oh, told you I'll find it. So that's definitely, that's actually a, would be, again, not sure what that's from. This has obviously got a little bubble there, but that's a perfect hole. So maybe that's, and I got the same thing over here. I don't know if I can pull this one out. Yeah, I need something to get that one out, but in almost the same area. I'll have to go back and look at one of the tubs we sold. Maybe that's something they did on these. So, all right, thank you very much. Appreciate all your time. Sorry it took me a while on this one, but sometimes they take a while when they're bad. Sometimes they take a while when they're good. So nonetheless, this was a nice one. And most stuff that's flaking off, and this guy is just poor paint job on it. So yeah, I think you got a winner. So, okay, 303-666-9020. Again, partsbreakers.com. And if this one does sell, you don't see it up in the website a few weeks, you know, give us a call. I won't say I can get something this clean in all the time. I'll for sure try, but these are definitely hard to get. If you're interested in that windshield frame or that tailgate or anything else you've seen up under there, just let me know. We'll work that out. And yeah, have a great day.